white mob decides to hunt a black couple. Put it up full mass. When you see this, it will make your blood boil. There are details that will disturb you even more. A black couple was hunted by armed racists before crashing violently. July 20th, Amylah Majors and her wife, Jamaria Gaskins, were driving in a rural area when they struck debris in the road and needed to pull over. It ended with a racially charged attack that left one of the women hospitalized with life-threatening injuries, and you see it there. Before they could even get out of their car, a man emerged from a nearby home, gave them a thumbs up gesture. They assumed he was coming to help. Instead, Major said he and two other white individuals, one of them a woman, began shouting racial slurs and threats. Quote, they called us N-words, told us we didn't belong there. And one of them even exposed himself while screaming hate and slurs at us. Majors wrote on a GoFundMe page launched by Gaskins. So go ahead and put them up. We're going to keep their pictures up for a minute. The incident was insane, has led to misdemeanor charges against two local residents, Elizabeth Wolfrey, 32, and then Mr. Mark Goodman, 59. Keep that picture up. Misdemeanor charges for two individuals. Imagine being so hate-filled that the sight of melanated skin triggers you. Imagine living in that kind of hell because you are in the United States of America. You will run into melanated people on a regular basis. But cowards like this typically will only exercise that kind of aggression when they feel protected. And the fact that they only have misdemeanor charges informs me that they are. Wolfrey is charged with pointing and brandishing a firearm. There's a federal statute for this as well. There's a misdemeanor statute in federal. And Goodman faces a charge of indecent exposure. That's according to the Fredericksburg Free Press. So citing the Spotsylvania County Sheriff's Office, a third person seen in the video has not yet been charged with anything. Quote, as we tried to leave, all three of them jumped into vehicles and chased us down the road, she wrote. Quote, one of them rode up beside us in a four-wheeler and aimed a gun directly at my head through the driver's window. That is not menacing. What's menacing? Menacing is pulling your gun out and saying you're going to shoot someone and scaring people because you're waving it around. That's menacing. That's menacing. You aim that gun at the head of an individual, you have crossed the line from menacing to a few other dynamics that could also include, well, attempted assault and more. None of that is even considered. Now, the moments later, the person Majors lost control of the car. So now you're getting into absolute felony territory. Okay. So now these individuals are being chased. That chase, well, that's probably chargeable significantly by itself with no injury at all. But there's a loss of control of the vehicle and the car crashed. She was ejected from the vehicle. She was ejected from the vehicle. Quote, I woke up in the hospital. That means that she was unconscious. I woke up in the hospital with a fractured spine, broken clavicle, collarbone, broke rib, severe concussion, multiple head injuries that required a staple. She wrote, quote, I am beyond grateful to be alive. Gaskins reportedly sustained minor injuries, but both women say they were assaulted, traumatized, and left permanently changed. This was not an accident. This was an attempted act of violence meant to harm and silence us, Majors added. Quote, we survived something that should have ended us. And now we're speaking out. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone who's ever been targeted and forced to stay quiet. Jordan, put up the pictures of the individuals charged with misdemeanors again. They are charged with misdemeanors, and they damn near committed vehicular homicide. Now, naturally, someone can argue that they did not mean for this to happen. They were just horseplaying, messing around. They had no intent for this woman to end up in this condition. But see, the intent doesn't matter when the aggression that is applied could have, and you should have known it could have, led to serious injury or death. Just like when you drink and drive. You may not have meant to get into an accident because you were intoxicated, but you either knew or should have known that driving intoxicated can seriously injure or kill somebody. And that is the standard of the law. That is the standard of the law. So if you chase someone and you're yelling racial slurs at them and also telling them they don't belong here and pointing a gun at their face, I think that qualifies as you either knew or should have known that possible injury or even death could have taken place, but you're charged with misdemeanor. The county NAACP, they are now involved. And the sheriff's office says additional charges, including hate crime charges, are under review. Under review. Sheriff's Major Delbert Myrick confirmed that a detective has been assigned to the case and is working closely with Commonwealth Attorney Ryan Mihafe to determine next steps. Wolfie was arraigned on Thursday, due back in court, General District Court, November 20th. Goodman's arraignment is scheduled for Monday, with the court appearance set for November 20th. Let me tell you why the fix is in. I'm going to tell you why the fix is in. It's not because they weren't charged up front with the felonies they could have easily been charged with. It's not because the sheriff says, well, that's under review. Two things. One, there's a detective assigned after the charges. There's a detective assigned after arraignment. Why is a detective assigned after arraignment? You think the detective is looking for charges against them or ways to exonerate them? Also, you have the same basic law in that state as you do anywhere else. If you are with them committing the same felony act, all of you are charged with the same thing. They decided to parse the charges. One is charged with indecent exposure, nothing else. That's going to get dropped on face value. The fix is in. The delay in the public release of information about the attack sparked criticism online, especially after the sheriff's office posted about the incident 11 days after it occurred. This is a rural area. Stuff like this is not normative. Their police force does not have some insane bureaucracy, but 11 days because they were forced to. Myrick defended the timing, citing safety concerns while Majors was still hospitalized. No, we did it for the little lady. We did it for her. Quote, I didn't want to release it because the moment I release it, the families or the suspects themselves know exactly where the victim is. He said, once we saw the video, we knew they were out. That's why we started releasing the information. That is so good of you to look out for this woman in such a way. But if those individuals pose that kind of threat to people inside of your community under your authority as law enforcement, why did you charge them with misdemeanors and nothing else? If they're that dangerous, sir, that your entire police protocol had to change in order to protect individuals who are in the hospital because you assumed that if you put that information out, the individuals who did this to them may do what, Sheriff? Kill them? Yeah, that's what you're implying. But you charge them with misdemeanors. Meanwhile, Majors and Gaskins have launched a crowdfunding campaign. We want to help to raise $125,000 medical bill, all right? They got legal fees, trauma therapy, cost of replacing their totaled vehicle. As of this week, they had $830. We will include a link to the GoFundMe in the description. I ask that you do the very best you can. All right, David, thoughts here.
Well, the depravity of our fellow human beings is so astounding sometimes. I was reminded a couple of weeks ago in a story we were doing that we had an expert who came on who talked about people who are racist, bigoted, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, and he pointed out that in any population, anywhere, you're going to look at 1 to 2% of that population is predisposed to being hateful, violent, racist, psychopathic, whatever you want to call it. And the role of society, the role of government is to try to contain them, to try to make sure that the incentives are clear so that 1 to 2% doesn't go out in public or on the street or whatever it is and inflict violence. And that's why we have things like felony charges. In my state in Connecticut, if you pull a gun out of the holster, you don't even have to point it at somebody, but pull it out of a holster while you're yelling at somebody. That is threatening. That is menacing. That is a class 1 felony. It's not a misdemeanor. In this case, they're holding the weapon and they're pointing at this person's head, and that's a misdemeanor. That doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. And as somebody who spent a lot of time in Virginia, and I've got a lot of friends who were there, and even some who have lived in the Fredericksburg area, this is beyond embarrassing and humiliating. This is the absolute worst. And thank God this couple is willing to talk about it, and they're showing such incredible courage after what they've been through to make sure that everybody hears about this, because we all need to hear about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We will continue to follow this situation, bring you updates as they occur. Dear brother, you're so right about the felony menacing statute. The sheriff chose to use the lesser misdemeanor version of that, which doesn't apply.